Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Z. I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in transgender care. Welcome to my channel. Today, I would like to talk to you. How can you start trusting yourself? Mistrust is one of the bigger things that runs in transgender and non-binary communities. Mistrust toward oneself, mistrust toward your own thought process, mistrust toward your feelings, mistrust toward your own realizations in regards to gender identity. Mistrust. And the mistrust and loss of the trust, losing that ability to trust yourself, can go on and on and on in the gender transition, if that's something that you're considering, and even post transition, when people actually completed whatever transition is for them. And yet there they are, still not trusting themselves, still questioning whether what you did, the transition you went through, was the right thing to do, whether you actually feeling better. Mistrust, again, can continue all the way post transition. So I want to discuss this tendency to mistrust, discuss why you tend to do that, and to give you a tip on how you can start trusting yourself, because it's really important to start trusting yourself. Otherwise, you're going to continue to doubt yourself for the rest of your life, whether again you transition or not, whether that is something for you or not. So this video is going to be for anybody of any type of uh, adult age, from age 18 and up, and any kind of stage that you're in. Maybe you are right now just exploring and you mistrust your feelings in regards to what you feel and whether what you feel actually is gender dysphoria. Maybe you are right now in a process where you're questioning whether you want to start things or have started things and mistrust whether you're on the right path, or maybe you are in a process of having things come to conclusion and yet you're still doubting yourself very, very deeply. Mistrust is incredibly common. I probably see pretty much every other person, if not more, that tends to mistrust themselves when it comes to their gender identity and how they feel about their authentic sense of self. One of the most common reasons why mistrust is going to be so prevalent and so common among so many of you is because you have a history, a lot of you have a history of growing up. And whether you realize this or not, chances are some of you have tried to express your authenticity, and chances are your parents, your caregivers, your peers, your maybe siblings, people around you, the world around you, have one way or another told you that your expression is not right. Your expression is not something that you should engage in. And a lot of times you got the type of feedback, not because people around you meant you not well, and not because they don't care about you, but because that's what they have been, that's what they learned themselves, that's what they actually believe in. So they probably thought they were helping you and doing you a favor, but in reality, what they were doing is at the early age making you question your feelings and instilling that tendency in you to then mistrust yourself when it comes to your gender. And as you continue to grow up, as you became adult, even right now, look what's happening right now. Look at what's happening right now in the United States, where we have so many narratives going on, right? We have narratives from one corner that is saying that trans people are have a mental illness, and that medical and mental health community is trying to take advantage of you, and we're all here trying to just turn you into customers. I'm here trying to turn you all into customers and run to my website and book an appointment with me. And I mean, my goodness, if that was true, would I even, you know, would I even need to create ongoing free content? I don't think people have to realize that that's just not how things work. But this is what you're getting. On the other hand, you're also getting narratives from people who have realized the gender transition was not for them, have realized that their gender identity has evolved, and they're talking about their stories, they're talking about their narratives, people talking about their experiences of detransitioning. And therefore, as a result, sometimes those narratives are also being weaponized against everybody else. And as a result of weaponizing those narratives, they're being spun around as, see, it doesn't work. You see, if this person has detransitioned, that means There's no such thing as transgender. It's all gender ideology, and so on and so forth. You know, I'm preaching to the choir. You all know this. I don't need to go into detail. So as a result, this will continue to instill tremendous amount of mistrust in your sense of self. And anytime you're going to try to start cultivating trust, it's almost as if you take one step down and then you take 5 steps back because of the way the world is. For that reason, mistrust is incredibly prevalent and very, very, very forefront in transgender and non-binary community. But at some point, you and I and everybody else in the world that lost mistrust with anything in their life have to work on cultivating a level of trust, because living a life doubting yourself and living a life losing that sense of compass is also not really helpful. You don't want to be second guessing everything you do. And essentially, you don't want to second guess who you are as an individual and second guess who you are as a person. So how can you start gaining trust in yourself? Well, one of the best ways I have learned to help my clients to gain trust is to help them paying attention to their feelings. Now, a lot of times people will say, pay attention to your mind and what your mind believes. And I say no, because our minds are fascinating machines. They can justify, rationalize, make excuses, self-sabotage, you name it. So our minds are not really the best. What is the best is how we feel about certain things. What's even better is whether we feel certain way about certain things continuously, where it forms a pattern. When a pattern is formed in regards to how you feel continuously, it becomes an experience you can disregard. It becomes an experience that is situated in relationship to your actual self. And as a result, it becomes an experience that then becomes an, if you will, a mirror image of who you actually are or what actually works for you. So you have to start trusting your feelings. What do I mean by that? Having trusting your feelings? Because a lot of you also by now have a hard time even recognizing what you feel, whether your feelings are, where they're coming from, what the feelings are telling you. There's this element of detachment that takes place over time when an individual has been mistrusting themselves. And it can be very difficult to start really orbiting yourself and start really listening to your feelings. Well, for a lot of you struggling with gender dysphoria, it can be very simple as when you come out of a shower and you look at yourself in the mirror. And some of you have got to the point where you can't even look at yourself in the mirror. And it can be very difficult. And I encourage you to at least look at some part of you in the mirror. When you look at yourself in the mirror, what feelings come up? What feelings come up? For a lot of people struggling with gender dysphoria, it could be feelings in relationship to secondary sex characteristics. So feelings often tend to be negative. They tend to be gender specific related. You may look at your chest and you may feel incredible discomfort. You may feel emotional pain. You may feel sadness and hurt because you feel as you look at your chest that it doesn't belong there. That's a feeling. It is trying to tell you something. We as human beings have capacity to feel because our feelings tell us things. There are data. There are data points that tell us things about ourselves. We feel things for a reason. When you touch hot stove, when you pull your hand away because it feels hot, that's a feeling. That's a feeling you get from actually touching the hot stove. That's telling you, ooh, ouch, dangerous, don't go there. When you are walking in a dark alleyway and there's somebody behind you and your hair standing up in the back of your head and you're feeling all terrified and scared and uncomfortable, that's the feelings that are trying to tell you you're not feeling safe. Those feelings cannot be disregarded. It's the same way when you're out there in the world and people gender you based on your gender assigned at birth. And the minute they say it, it feels like a painful paper cut, or it feels as if somebody just kicked you in the gut. or it feels incredibly uncomfortable and painful, and you don't know why, but it's still a feeling, and that feeling is trying to tell you that there's something here you're not comfortable with. This is how we all start listening to our feelings. And when it happens again and again and again, you have to start interjecting, taking within yourself what it's telling you. And you have to start acknowledging, I notice when I'm out there and I get constantly gendered. Sir, bro, man, brother, dude. It makes me feel deeply detached from myself. I noticed when I'm out there and I get gendered, ma'am, miss, lady, honey, I don't know, maybe not honey. I feel, oof, like, like a warm, fuzzy hug. We all know what that good feeling feels like. It feels like coming home to ourselves. It's a very particular feelings. When we do things we like, when we engage with things that make us feel good, it's almost as if we're shining and smiling and radiating from within, as if we're giving out this giant rays of light. We all know those feelings. And to this day, some of you have a lot of those feelings, just not in regards to gender. You have a lot of those feelings in regard of other things in your life. And you need to remember them and pay attention when you have the same feeling in regards to your authentic gender identity. When you try a particular fruit for the first time, and I love strawberries. I'm fanatic for strawberries. When I try strawberries that is seasonal and delicious and just beautifully melts in your mouth, I get a feeling. I get a feeling of how much I enjoy and love it. When wasabi, I think it's wasabi, touches even a little piece of rice of my sushi, I get a feeling that I gotta run to the bathroom and brush my teeth. That's a feeling that tells me I don't like it. It's the same thing in relationship to your authentic sense of self in regard to your gender. When you express yourself, when you get a particular haircut, when you wear a particular style of clothing, and it makes you feel a particular way, regardless of how the world treats you or what anybody else around you says to you about yourself, that's a feeling you get. And it's either a good or not so good feeling. It's either pleasant or unpleasant. And paying attention to those feelings is exactly how you're going to start learning to trust yourself. When I put on my ginormous glasses and my red lipstick, I get a feeling. It's a feeling of I'm seeing who I am. It's me. It's not a persona I created for YouTube. It's literally me. It's how I see myself. Quirky and unusual. I get a feeling it feels good. It feels wonderful. So start paying attention to all of those feelings. I bet you feel them all the time. Things are always telling you things about yourself. Either you feel good or you don't feel so good about it. This is why social transition is so important, because it puts you in a position to explore. When you explore, you start putting yourself in position to experience feelings you never felt before in regards to your gender. And as a result, you're able to make sense of why you feel a particular way you do. All of those things are really, really important. You start with hormones and you suddenly feel like you're for the first time at peace within your body. That's a feeling. That's a feeling. If you had gender affirming surgery and you had mastectomy and you suddenly look at your flat chest and you feel good, you are able to go out there shirtless and it feels amazing and you feel like you're radiating and you want to scream from the top of the mountain. That's a feeling. Don't ever lose that feeling. The world is always going to work in a way where the world is going to want to juxtaposition and push their narratives, the narrative of majority, onto you. But it doesn't mean that they're right. It doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about. It just means there's a big chunk of people who have never felt what you're feeling. And they strongly believe that what they feel is the truth, and what you feel is not truth. And they're going to try to go out of the way to prove to you that what you feel is not true, but they don't know. Only you do. You have to trust yourself and never lose the trust with yourself. Because the minute you do, you walk the life continuously doubting yourself, and doubting yourself is a painful process because then you're constantly in a state of limbo. So this is what I recommend. My biggest tip on how to start trusting yourself is to pay attention to your feelings. Comment below, let me know, have you lost your sense of touch with your feelings? How did you regain it? What are you doing right now? What can you trust yourself? Can you comment below one thing that you have experienced that makes you feel wonderful and that you're going to trust that it's a good thing and it's telling you something good about yourself? Comment below and let me know, and I will see you all next time. Bye.